Welcome to a fascinating journey through the countries from I to Z, where we explore their capitals and currencies. We start with I for Iceland, whose capital is Reykjavik, and currency is the Icelandic krona. Moving on to India, with New Delhi as its capital, and the Indian rupee as its currency. Now let's head over to Indonesia's capital, Jakarta, and its currency, the Indonesian rupiah. And then we visit Iran, with Tehran as its capital, and the Iranian rial as its currency, followed by Iraq with Baghdad as its capital and the Iraqi dinar as its currency. Next is Ireland's capital, Dublin, and although it is part of the European Union, it uses the euro as its currency. Onward to Israel's capital, Jerusalem, and the Israeli shekel as its currency. And then we have Italy with Rome as its capital, also using the euro. Moving on to J for Jamaica with Kingston as its capital and the Jamaican dollar as its currency. Then we have Japan with Tokyo as its capital and the Japanese yen as its currency, followed by Jordan with Amman as its capital and the Jordanian dinar as its currency. As we move on to K, we have Kazakhstan with Astana as its capital and the Kazakhstani tenge as its currency, and Kenya with Nairobi as its capital. Using the Kenyan shilling as its currency, we then move to North Korea with Pyongyang as its capital and the North Korean won as its currency, followed by South Korea with Seoul as its capital, using the South Korean won as its currency. Kosovo with Pristina as its capital, uses the euro as its currency, and Kuwait with Kuwait City as its capital, uses the Kuwaiti dinar as its currency. Lastly, in K, we have Kyrgyzstan with Bishkek as its capital, and the Kyrgyzstani som as its currency. Now we move on to L for Laos with Vientiane as its capital, using the Lao Kip as its currency, Latvia, with Riga as its capital, uses the euro as its currency, and Lebanon with Beirut as its capital, uses the Lebanese pound as its currency. Lesotho with Maseru as its capital, uses the Lesotho lati as its currency, Liberia with Monrovia as its capital, uses the Liberian dollar as its currency, and Libya with Tripoli as its capital, uses the Libyan dinar as its currency, Lithuania, with Vilnius as its capital, uses the euro as its currency, as does Luxembourg with Luxembourg City as its capital. Moving on to M, we have Macedonia with Skopje as its capital and the Macedonian dinar as its currency, Madagascar with Antananarivo as its capital, using the Malagasy Ariary as its currency, and Malawi with Lilongwe as its capital, using the Malawian kwacha as its currency. Malaysia with Kuala Lumpur as its capital, uses the Malaysian ringgit as its currency, and the Maldives with Malay as its capital, uses the Maldivian rufiah as its currency. Mali with Bamako as its capital, uses the West African CFA franc as its currency. Malta with Valletta as its capital, uses the euro as its currency, and the Marshall Islands with Maduro as its capital uses the US dollar as its currency. Mauritania with Nouakchott as its capital, uses the Mauritanian ouguiya as its currency, and Mauritius with Port Louis as its capital, uses the Mauritian rupee as its currency. Mexico, with Mexico City as its capital, uses the Mexican peso as its currency, and Micronesia with Palikir as its capital, uses the US dollar as its currency, and Moldova with Chisinau as its capital, uses the Moldovan leu as its currency. Monaco, with Monaco City as its capital, uses the euro as its currency, and Mongolia with Ulaanbaatar as its capital, uses the Mongolian togrug as its currency. Montenegro, with Podgorica as its capital, uses the euro as its currency. And finally, Morocco, with Rabat as its capital, uses the Moroccan dirham as its currency. And lastly, we have Mozambique, with Maputo as its capital, using the Mozambican medical as its currency, and Myanmar with Naypyidaw as its capital, using the Myanmar kyat as its currency. We hope you enjoyed this journey through the diverse countries and their capitals and currencies from I to Z,